Jesus was spirit, came to earth, was born of a woman, a very critical part of the plan. Absolutely, absolutely a must. And why was it a must? Because he had to put on flesh. He had to put on flesh in order, and he had to walk in the flesh. He had to walk as a man to redeem man. God couldn't just redeem man by paying the price himself. A man had to redeem man. And so Jesus had to put on flesh, and he left his deity. He didn't walk in that. This is something that some people disagree with, but to me it just makes sense. He had to walk as a man, and he put on flesh. And he was tried, and he was tempted, and now all things. We don't fully understand that, but if you ever think, well, God, Jesus, you don't know what I'm going through. Let me say this. You can say, well, Jesus, you don't know what I was going through because you were the Son of God, and you didn't have, the temptations wouldn't have been as powerful on you. I believe this, that your temptation and my temptation isn't even minutely close to what he was tempted. We just kind of read it and see the flannel graph in church and just think, well, it wasn't that big a deal to him. I don't believe that at all. I believe that it took everything of God's grace and Jesus' power to not yield to the temptations, especially the temptation of just saying, I'm out of here. I don't need to do this. I don't need to be confined to this body. I don't need to put up with these people. I don't know what all. He said he was tempted in everything. And I don't believe that our temptations, I don't think would ever come close to what he had to do as a man. As a man. He loved God. He obeyed God. He suffered. He succeeded. He fulfilled everything that needed to be fulfilled in making a brand new covenant and fulfilling the old covenant so that it could be done away with. And then he invited all of us to join him. And now he's waiting and preparing. He's an example. We've been talking about this a little bit with the men, but boy, it's amazing when you can see an example how fast you can pick it up. If you can see somebody do something, you're going to be doing it way faster than if you just read about it or try it. And the prime example of that is the 4-minute mile. Once a man broke the 4-minute mile, and it was broken earlier. I mean, when a bear's chasing you, you're going to run faster than you can ever think you can, but nobody was clocking it. Okay, so in our minds, we thought we couldn't run it. But once we did and everybody found out that the example, then 300 people broke the 4-minute mile within a year or so. And so it is important to have an example. And the Bible literally calls Jesus the example or the forerunner. The forerunner was one of the things a forerunner would do is when the ship was coming in and, it would dock out in the ocean so it wouldn't get damaged. And then a guy would jump off the ship and swim all the way to shore with a small rope in his mouth so that he could pull a bigger rope and anchor it, and then that rope was the guide for all the rest to get to the shore, that no matter what happened, they could grab that rope and get in. He's the forerunner. He's our example, and let me tell you that you need to let that empower you. You need to think about that and just say, my Jesus did way more than I could ever dream of or hope of, and he did it with what I have. Say this, he did it with what I have. What God has given you, his grace and his spirit and his power and his name and his nature and everything else, he did it with that. Hallelujah. And so you can do it. And the beautiful thing is he owns the bat, the ball, and the field, so you can try as many times as you need to get it done. Nobody can throw you out.